What's up, everybody? I'm DroFingerz, and this is WWE News and Rumors. Hey! What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me for episode number 3 of WWE News and Rumors right here on YouTube. We got a lot of stuff to cover today, man. We got a lot of news in the rumor mill, things leading up to WrestleMania. We're going to be covering WWE Roadblock and talking about the Dean Ambrose and Triple H feud that we got going on. Also, some Undertaker news out there we're going to cover. Some Sami Zayn news. We're going to cover a lot of stuff today, so thank you for joining me. First off, I just want to give a big thank you to everybody who checked out the Raw review that I dropped on Wednesday. It's only been up for about a day now and already on pace to hit 1,000 views. You guys knocked it out of the park. I want to thank you guys for checking that out. If you haven't, I'm going to put an annotation link right here. You can click on that and watch that and see what I thought about Monday Night Raw. Also, join in on the discussion. Leave your comments below. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click this little guy over here, and you'll get 2 videos a week in your subscription box covering WWE Raw, doing the Raw reviews every week, and WWE News and Rumors covering everything in the dirt sheets and the rumor mills just leading up to WrestleMania. It's a big time for WWE, so click that little guy and you'll have 2 videos in your sub box every week. Also, if you want to follow me on social media, the best way to keep track of the channel is to do that. You can like my page on Facebook, you can follow me on Twitter, and you'll know exactly the time that I drop each video every week. So those links are down in the description. So other than that, I just want to give also another big thank you to the Facebook groups and the Google Plus circles who have supported me starting this channel. It's my 3rd week on YouTube, so we're getting going now. Especially hitting that 1,000 views was a big deal, so we're getting a bigger audience and adding to the channel, so that's great. Thank you guys for joining me. All right, let's get started. The first story this week, we got a report on WWE Roadblock about Triple H and Dean Ambrose. Dave Meltzer of F4WOnline.com reports that the original plan for WWE Roadblock Network special was for Triple H to face Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar, with Triple H pinning Ambrose to win. There's speculation that WWE purposely wants to book Ambrose as the ultimate underdog, similar to Daniel Bryan, making it so the fans will cheer him even more. There are no plans to turn Ambrose at this time, even though the company needs a strong top heel to feud with Roman Reigns after WrestleMania. So that's really a good idea if you're WWE to put Dean Ambrose in that Daniel Bryan type of role. He's already there, you know. We've got the fans already cheering him as the underdog, similar to a Daniel Bryan story, which they've actually ended up telling by mistake. If you look at the way they've booked Roman Reigns to be this, they've tried to book him in that role, and it's just backfired in their face. Every week we boo Roman Reigns because we know what they're doing. It's manufactured. It's not organic. It's not the way the fans want it to be. So they actually ended up doing that to Dean by accident and getting him over in the same role. And organically, we appreciated that and showed him our support. So it's good that I guess they're acknowledging Dean Ambrose as a top guy, which they've kind of done. You know, I know he's had some WWE title matches, but he's lost. He's always been the backseat to Roman Reigns. So this may be a sign that maybe they're seeing Ambrose as their top guy instead, given that Roman Reigns has backfired so much lately. Hopefully that will happen. Also, we got a story also on Roadblock about an NXT match, which is really exciting. I'm really pumped for this, man, and really surprised that 2 of these people are going to be showcased on a WWE Network special. In addition to Triple H versus Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar Bray Wyatt, which has also been announced for Roadblock, WWE announced the following NXT match taking place at Roadblock on March 12th. We've got Dash and Dawson defending the tag team titles against Enzo and Big Cass. That's a big deal, man. It's a big deal for Enzo and Cass. especially, because they're probably going to be making their main roster debut pretty soon. This is probably more for them than it is Dash and Dawson. I'd say Dash and Dawson's going to remain down in NXT for a good long while, mainly because they're ring technicians. They're not entertainers. They're not really fit for Raw yet, because most of the people that watch Raw, especially the casual audience, aren't going to be able to appreciate Dash and Dawson yet. They have a gritty, old school wrestling style, and the smart crowd loves that. They put on really great matches with really great ring psychology, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to go over on Raw. But Enzo and Big Cass definitely having that huge entertainment value that they bring to the table is going to work out great on Raw. So that is also going to be on Roadblock, and I would guess that Dash and Dawson have got to retain the titles, because if you have Enzo and Big Cass win the NXT tag titles, I don't know how they're going to be on Raw. But at the same time, you're going to be giving them a loss going into Raw. So honestly, I don't know if this is a great idea. I think the better match would be Jason Jordan and Chad Gable versus Enzo and Cass, and let them go at it and have Enzo and Cass pick up a win. I mean, it sucks that you got to have Jordan and Gable lose, because they're so good. I mean, they're the best tag team in NXT by far in the ring. They're better than, the Mechanics, but we'll see what happens at Roadblock. It's turning into an interesting show, so it may be worth checking out. We also have another story about Sami Zayn. Dave Meltzer of F4WOnline.com reports that Sami Zayn is currently scheduled to be a part of WrestleMania 32 and is also booked for the European tour in April after WrestleMania. He's expected to be appearing on the main roster television shows very soon. So Sami Zayn finally getting the call up. When he came back from his injury, it was pretty much under the assumption of everyone that Sami Zayn was going to be in NXT for a good while, that he wasn't going to be on Raw after he made a speech at the TakeOver London special, saying that basically he was going to be there for a while and to reinvent NXT and make it even better than it was, which they've been doing great. But Sami Zayn definitely belongs on the main roster. He has great entertainment value. He does great ring work. So expect to see him on Monday Night Raw fairly soon. I don't know if they're going to be showing him on Raw prior to WrestleMania to give him a sort of a push with vignettes and things like that, or if he's just going to debut at WrestleMania as a surprise to the smart crowd, and there'll be enough smarky people there that will know who Sami Zayn is, and he has been on Raw before. He had a match with John Cena, so he's just fairly well known to a casual audience, so that's good. So we will be seeing Sami Zayn on the main roster fairly soon. Also, we got a story about Lesnar and Bray Wyatt being planned for the Roadblock event. Also regarding the WrestleMania card, Dave Meltzer of F4WOnline.com reports that the New Day versus League of Nations in some form is currently scheduled, which is kind of a bummer. It could end up being either a tag match or a six-man match. New Day versus Y2AJ is not currently scheduled for WrestleMania, so thank God that's not happening. Hopefully on Raw this Monday, they'll have a heel turn from Chris Jericho, and this Y2AJ thing will be over. Although, WWEshop.com is selling Y2AJ merch, so who knows, maybe they just are making a quick buck, and, for this current little tag team run that they're having, and it's not a long-term thing. That would be best for everybody involved. Also, a multi-person match is rumored to be taking place, possibly for Kevin Owens' Intercontinental title. The idea is to do something similar to last year's ladder match. So it may be a battle royal of some kind, or it may be a Money in the Bank style ladder match with 6 people vying for the Intercontinental title. So unfortunately, we're probably not going to see Kevin Owens in a one-on-one match at WrestleMania, which I would really like. That's what we need, is we need KO versus AJ for the IC title, and have AJ go over. I know that puts KO behind a little bit, but It's AJ Styles, man, and you know, he needs a rocket ship right now. He doesn't need to have the same introduction as everyone else has, because we've seen what happens. You know, look at Kevin Owens. When he came into the scene, he was hot, 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 hot. Even the people that didn't like Kevin Owens still liked Kevin Owens. Now it's gotten to the point where he's starting to slack down a little bit. And do you really want to have AJ Styles have the same fate as a Bray Wyatt? No. Hell no. That's what we need to avoid. We need to avoid the stagnation at the initial part of the run. So put a rocket on him and blast him to the fucking moon, man. And have some good storylines for AJ, or else eventually, I don't care who you are, if you're booked badly and you end up stagnating with losses over time, you're not going to retain that heat. It doesn't matter who you are. So they're going to have to figure out something to do with the IC title as well. I'm sure it'll be a good match, but you know, we'll see what happens. There's also scheduled to be another singles match with two big names, with the angle being shot in the next week or so. So no word on who that's going to be. Just another angle for WrestleMania coming up. As far as speculating as who it might be, Miz. Miz and someone. I don't know. I mean, think about the roster as it is now. Who are two big names that stand out that already aren't scheduled in a match at WrestleMania? And the Miz, you could say, is a big name, you know. Yeah, Randy Orton's not going to be there. That's already been confirmed. He's not going to make it back from injury in time, so no idea who that could be. Besides that, there are also plans for a second women's match and the Andre the Giant Battle Royal for the rest of the roster that doesn't have a spot on the card. So we're going to be getting the Battle Royal again, and two Divas in a predominant match. Hopefully it's just two Divas, and it's not a god-awful Battle Royal with a bunch of jobber women that can't wrestle. If I had to guess, that second women's match, though, will probably be Brie Bella versus Lana, and hopefully that'll be Brie Bella's retirement if that happens, and Lana will go over to give her a push for a women's run of her own. Speaking of the women, we also have a story about the Divas title match that's going to be happening at WrestleMania. Also, another WrestleMania match has been signed. As WWE Divas Champion, Charlotte will take on both Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch in a triple threat match for the championship title. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks squared off on tonight's SmackDown in a number one contenders bout. During the match, Charlotte attacked both women and said they don't deserve a match. Renee Young later informed her backstage that the triple threat match has been signed, so we are going to get the triple threat match. That's good. I think if you have Becky Lynch on, you have to have her in that predominant role at WrestleMania. And seeing as how the second women's match is probably going to be, you know, a Lana versus Brie Bella match, you have to have her in this match. It's necessary. So it's good that they've already said this is going to happen. It's the triple threat. I would expect Sasha to go over. I wouldn't guarantee it, but I would definitely expect Sasha Banks to get her title run now. Now we're going to go over the ratings for Monday Night Raw that we had just this past week. This week's Raw, featuring the return of The Undertaker, did 3.72 million viewers overall. This is slightly below last week's 3.88 million viewers. We also have a breakdown of the hours. 8 p.m. we got 3.96, 9 p.m. we got 3.66, and 10 p.m. we got 3.55. So they weren't able to hang on to the first hour of viewers, and mostly I would blame that on Miz and Dolph Ziggler if I had to pick anything from the first hour. They did a great job, actually, of retaining their 9 to 10s. The only dropping, you know, about a million, or not even a million, like 100,000. They dropped about 100,000 people between 9 and 10, so not bad. That's better than they have the weeks prior. Usually you see the drop-off between 9 and 10 because the 9 p.m. hours when it all goes to hell. You know, they have the hot first hour usually, and they'll have one or two crappy segments in there, and then they'll have the 9 p.m. with a bunch of crap in there, and then they'll pick it back up on the 10 o'clock hour. So they did a better job of spacing things out this time. Like I mentioned on the Raw review, they had pretty good pacing this week. It wasn't a bad Raw, as opposed to the speculation online. A lot of people, from what I saw, did not enjoy Raw this past week. I have to respectfully disagree to a certain extent. I didn't think it was awful. A lot of people, I think want a bigger show for WrestleMania, the build up for WrestleMania, and I guess it's probably because my expectations are so low that I enjoyed this week's Raw, because we've had so awful Raws in the past that this one wasn't as bad as those. So it's probably just the interpretation, because our expectations have dropped. So I didn't hate it. I enjoyed Raw this week. I didn't think it was awful. So if it's good enough to hold my attention for 3 hours, I'll give them credit for that. Moving on, we do have a story about the creative team and how they've been integrating things into storylines, such as major cultural events like the Super Bowl and the Grammys. Dave Meltzer of F4WOnline.com reports that the current role for the creative team is that there is a major cultural event such as the Super Bowl or Grammy Awards. Something related to the event must be written in the opening promo on the edition of Raw following the event. So they have made it a must. It is a necessity that there be a reference to a cultural event that's happening out, like the Grammys or the Super Bowl. So it's a necessity now that the creative team do that in the opening promo, which is ridiculous in my opinion. It just makes them look dated, because they try, it's a good idea, but the execution is awful every time they try. It's always campy. It always falls flat. So they don't know how to execute that. Also, Chris Jericho currently has no Fozzy touring dates ahead, so it's possible he will continue working for the WWE for the foreseeable future. So don't get used to the idea that Chris Jericho is going bye-bye after WrestleMania. Just get used to him being here. I don't know what they have planned for him, what they possibly could have planned for him, given his time in his career right now, is he's way past his prime. So he'll be a good hand to put people over, possibly like a Sami Zayn. That's a good storyline you could write. Jericho and Sami Zayn coming out of Sami Zayn's debut, but more than likely it'll be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn if they have a brain in their skull, because of the huge storyline they had in NXT. The Sami Zayn KO storyline in NXT was so hot because of the history that's behind it. They've been feuding for years, and to have that play out on Monday Night Raw and a pay-per-view such as Payback or Extreme Rules will be really cool to see. So we'll see if that happens. Also, WWE piped in fake boos for Triple H's SmackDown promo on the 25th of February, so there aren't currently plans to tease a face turn. Roman Reigns is still scheduled to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania and be the WrestleMania headliner for 2017 and 2018. So, more Roman Reigns. More Roman Reigns. Every year now. He's the new John Cena. If they don't turn him heel, we're going to be in for a hell of a next 3 years, man. If that's the case, because this babyface run isn't working. And if they're so set on it that they don't care what the fans accept and what they don't, what the crowd reaction is, they don't care. They're just going to push it anyway, which isn't hard to believe because they've been doing that. You've seen over the past few months that they don't care what the audience thinks about Roman Reigns. They're going to push him and shove him down everyone's throat, whether they like it or not. And it's not Roman Reigns. It's not his fault because of the way he's booked. I'm not saying that the guy sucks. It's the writing. It's his position that he's been placed in. It's not conducive to his character. If you go back and see Any of the Roman Reigns promos from NXT, you'll see exactly how they should be booking him. He's a great heel, and hope to God that they do this at WrestleMania and keep him from being a very lame-ass babyface for the next 3 years. Now we have a report also on Wade Barrett. This is new. Dave Meltzer from F4WOnline.com also reports that Wade Barrett has been fully cleared to wrestle, and he was back working house show matches with Neville over the weekend, who, speaking of Neville, is now down back in NXT. I don't know. They're not going to push him because he's already said, he's already thrown it out there, he's not going to be here for much longer. His contract's up in June, and he's going to move on probably from wrestling in general after that. I would guess he's going to go to acting. Just because there's nowhere else for him to go. He could go to Impact, but he's not going to make near the money he made in WWE. He will get a push, but I don't see him doing that. I see him going the acting route because he has alluded to that in the past, that, this is it. This is his last hurrah for wrestling. And, Wade Barrett may be getting a few matches on Raw or SmackDown or main event for the sake of doing it and having him there, but I would say that's it for Wade Barrett after this June. Also, at this point, Undertaker is not scheduled for any further appearance leading up to WrestleMania, although that could change. So right now, we're not going to be seeing Undertaker again, which is very sad given the promo that he cut on Monday. If that's all you're going to do leading up to the match at WrestleMania, that is very underwhelming. Hopefully they write some more creative things for this storyline. Like I said on Monday, this storyline makes no sense. The appearance from the Undertaker, while really cool, and his mystique, like I said, his mystique was still intact, but it was a very underwhelming promo from him. I mean, he delivered it very well, but the promo itself was garbage. So, hopefully they've got to add to that before WrestleMania, or it's going to be very lackluster. Also, Shinsuke Nakamura's WWE contract is valid through February 2019. Speaking of Nakamura, he's expected to headline live events during WWE's next tour of Japan this summer. That's true. He is going to be main eventing live events in Japan on the main roster. He's going to be fighting with main roster guys. Especially given his experience in New Japan, his fame there. Of course, they're going to use that to their best benefit and get that huge. He'll get a humongous pop in Japan. But they love him over there. Also, we got a story on the Undertaker. Another story on the Undertaker. Speaking of him appearing on Raw, he's actually scheduled for a couple dates after WrestleMania. He's scheduled for a bunch of live events for about a week or so, a Saturday to a Saturday period of time. In that week, he has 2 televised appearances. He's going to be on Raw on April 18th, and he's going to be on SmackDown on April 19th. So, I don't know if these are just going to be one-offs, or if they're going to put him in a storyline coming off of WrestleMania. Maybe something happens at WrestleMania and they know where they're going already. But I highly doubt that, given that they write Raw the day of. So we'll see what comes of that. Also, while we do not know if The Undertaker will be wrestling at the April 19th SmackDown taping in London, he will be teaming with The Big Show to face Eric Rowan and Luke Harper at the live events on the tour. So he's going to be doing this tour, doing the rounds with this team over and over again. Every day he's going to be wrestling with The Big Show to face the Wyatt family. Woohoo! But that's it. That's all we have on The Undertaker after WrestleMania, so we'll see what happens. Also, we got a couple other stories here to go over before we finish this week. Ric Flair confirmed on his latest podcast that he will induct Sting into the WWE Hall of Fame during WrestleMania 32 weekend in Dallas next month. So, Ric Flair going to be inducting Sting. I like that, given that they've had a history in WCW. Who else are you going to have induct him better than Ric Flair? Ric Flair will do a very interesting induction speech, I'm sure. It'll be great, I'm sure. He's one of the best on the mic, one of the best ever. So that'll be great to see. Also, we have a story about Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash has announced that he will donate his brain and spinal cord to the CTE Center at Boston University and the Concussion Legacy Foundation after he passes. The WWE Hall of Famer broke the news on ESPN.com, along with the comments from former WWE star Chris Nowinski, who was a part of the first ever Tough Enough contest. Chris Nowinski started the program, and I've had several concussions throughout my life and had scans done and stuff, and knew that somewhere down the line I've already had short-term memory problems, Nash told Michael Rothstein of ESPN.com. I decided to go ahead. The only way you can diagnose this is after you're dead. So Kevin Nash supporting concussion research after he passes. That's very noble. I respect anyone who wants to donate their body to science after they're gone, because you're not going to need the damn thing anymore, so why don't you help out? That's the way I see it. Chris Nowinski, co-founder of CTE Center, said he hopes Nash's announcement inspires other athletes and their families to do the same. Quote, "It's so powerful when icons like Kevin Nash are willing to pledge their brain for research and talk about it publicly. Brain donation is really driving our growing knowledge of CTE and the long-term effects of brain trauma, and so I'm hoping that we can solve this problem before Kevin's time comes, but Kevin announcing this means that other families are aware that this research is important, and that if they lose somebody, they may think of the Concussion Legacy Foundation." So this is a big deal, man. Not just helping WWE, but think about the NFL. Hear about the concussions every single week we have from these games. It's a big deal that he's doing this, and I really support Kevin Nash for going over that line and doing that. It's not an easy decision to make, I would guess. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it personally if it was my body, but other people, people believe different things, and I'm not going to get into that, but very noble of him. I really respect him for doing that. More than I already do. So we also have a story which we're not going to end with, but I really kind of want to. Actually, we are going to end with it. Just a second, we'll get to that. Before that, we have Shane McMahon and The Undertaker being added to the 28th March edition of WWE Raw in Brooklyn, which will be the final show before WrestleMania 32. Advertised locally is the League of Nations and WWE Intercontinental Champion Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Roman Reigns, and the WWE United States Champion Kalisto. Shane is now advertised for Monday's Raw in Chicago, the March 14th Raw in Pittsburgh, and the March 28th Raw in Brooklyn. He is not being advertised for the March 21st Raw in Philly. So it looks like they're going week to week to week to week with him, week on and week off, and week on and week off. So we're going to have Shane and Undertaker an update basically from the report I gave you before, saying that The Undertaker will be on the March 28th, the go-home Raw to WrestleMania. So we are going to hear at least something else and have a final standoff between these two before the Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. So that's good news. Also, on a side note to this story, Rhino is running for a spot in the Michigan House of Representatives. He tweeted the following today: "It's official, I'm on the ballot for state representative. Hope I make you proud, Dearborn, Michigan." And Rhino in a suit with a bow tie. Weird. That's all I got to say about that. Of all the people I would see running for office, Glenn Jacobs, Kane is probably the top of that list. The guy's a genius. If you haven't heard his speeches that he's made at libertarian conventions, I urge you to look that up on YouTube. They're long, but it's worth seeing just to see how smart this guy is. He could be the president, seriously. But Rhino, I don't know about that. I don't know about Gore being in the House of Reps. That's an odd one. That really caught me by surprise today. And the final and the best story of the day, by far. We have former WWE diva Sunny responding to herself being spoofed on this week's Edge and Christian show. Now, I didn't see Edge and Christian, but I did hear it wasn't brutal, but they did reference her career and this porn thing that she's kind of turned to now. So she is not happy. Those who matter in the WWE office called to check on me in the hospital a couple weeks ago. Edge and Christian are just douchebags. #ugly ones. Quote, "It's fine. Those two fucking ugly Canadians can say what they want. I will see them at a convention somewhere. You know I'm a ruthless bitch." Quote, "Everyone knows I speak my mind, and I'll rip them both new assholes without fail." And the last quote, "When they were both first getting hired, they both had crushes on me. Carl DeMarco can verify. I guess because I didn't fuck them, they're bitter." So, hilarious tweets from Diva Sunny, and I'm very glad that she said all that because it made me laugh my ass off today. And that is my story of the week. And that is it for WWE News and Rumors this week. I want to thank you guys for joining me again. Again, thank you for the support on the Raw review. You can click right down here and watch that if you haven't yet. Also, add me on social media. You can like my page on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter and know exactly when I drop these videos every week. We do the Raw review every week, and we do this episode of WWE News and Rumors every week. So two videos in your subscription box for absolutely nothing, and I appreciate all you guys' support. Join me here next time for the Raw review. We're going to be having maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm thinking about changing the format and maybe doing a audio only version instead of the video version that we're getting right now. I love doing the video version. The problem is the bandwidth speed that I have here. It takes forever to upload. That's why it's Wednesday by the time I get that Raw review out. And I'd really like to get that out on Tuesday for everybody, because Tuesday is the day where everyone goes on and looks at Raw. That's when I go on and look for Raw reviews and listen to them. So I'd really like to get that on Tuesday. If you'd like to, I'd really like your feedback on that. If you'd like to continue getting the video version instead, I don't mind doing that at all. I love doing it with the video layouts and all that. I enjoy that. But if you'd like to get it a day earlier, just let me know, and I may be able to work that out and just do the audio version and maybe throw up a few pictures here and there, given what we're talking about at the time and context. So that's an option. But again, just want to thank you guys for joining me. Click this little guy over here and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey.